Happy Monday. It's Hot Topic.
Yay.
Hey,
It's Monday. Yay. Yay or nay?
I think we said this last Monday. I think the internet is still on weekend mode. Like,
Yeah.
literally woke up this morning. We've rebooted our modem.
Yep. And it just
I think it's the weather. I don't know if it's cloudy. It was raining earlier. Like, I don't know what happens to the internet. It's so frustrating. I was actually worried that we wouldn't be able to go live this morning.
Well, and it was funny because you sent the link later than usual, and I'm like, maybe it's just like everything is about this week.
She's frozen.
Oh,
that's well, not good. See, it's the internet. It's Monday.
I don't know.
I'm telling you.
Can you hear me or not? I can't even tell.
Maybe it's me.
Keep talking? I can keep talking.
It's possible.
Can keep talking. So let me see on my end.
We're like,
I'm here. I'm here, guys.
You're here, one here, and somebody said that I was frozen. So I wasn't frozen on my end.
But I get the stage. I get the stage.
It's you. It's me. So yeah, so just if I freeze, just keep talking because apparently it's on my end.
So it's the weird thing about sometimes when you like, to me, Sunday is kind of the prep day for Monday, right? So Sunday, and it kind of sets the tone for the next day, right? So yesterday we were up north on the weekend, of course, doing our favorite jobs, which are painting and putting things together. And so we did all that. And I set off to drive home, and it was just crazy traffic, insane, 3-hour drive. And, I get there's a point where I think everyone, when you get really frustrated, right? You like start hitting your steering wheel. Maybe it's just me because
I just sit back and be like, it is what it is. Like,
right. Cause you're trapped, right?
Yeah.
You're trapped,
you can't go anywhere.
And it's like, so when I used to fly, I used to go to Tokyo. I used to go to Japan once a month, and it's a 15-hour flight from Toronto. And I would always you'd be stuck, and you'd want to start screaming because you felt like you couldn't, like you can't leave, like you can't do anything.
You're in an airplane.
You're stuck. So it's kind of what I feel like in traffic. But I did remember, when I feel that way, I go, okay, let me just put on music. And every time I put on music, it makes me happy. So I put on one of my favorites, Traveling Wilburys. Who I love, they always make me happy. And I realized that maybe I have, George Harrison and Roy Orbison and Tom Petty. I think I have a groupie crush on those guys. I wish they were still alive, because if they were, I'd be at the door at their concerts, even though they never played live. But anyway, so it was a crazy drive. And then I got home, and then the personal care worker didn't show up for Gord. So I had to do that. And then I had to go groceries because there was no food in the house. So it was just like, I don't like today, and I'm worried. And then I woke up this morning and I realized I left my computer charger up north. So luckily my daughter's here, and I grabbed hers for now so we could be live. And then, I wrote a couple of emails that I didn't want to do. And then we came on here and the camera didn't work. So whenever that happens, I get worried about the rest of the week, because I hate when it starts off crappy, and it started off crappy. So, what do you do when you're like on a Monday, if your week starts off crappy? What do you think?
I feel like going back to bed sometimes, but I feel like I push through. Like it like this morning, I jump on and I send you a text to say, sorry, my internet's down, trying to reboot. It didn't go through. So you didn't know I sent that message.
No.
Trying to reboot my computer. I'm rebooting the internet. I'm rebooting this. honestly, like, it's just like, okay,
Yeah.
let's just get one thing at a time. And it's
Yeah.
literally one thing at a time. But the thing is, I woke up and there was some new features on Trello. So that made me happy
Oh.
today. So I'll tell you
Oh,
about that
okay.
later.
Awesome.
So that brought me joy because everyone knows I love Trello. I'm a little bit of a, it's not what I want to talk about this morning, but that brought me joy. So it's like, I focus on that. It's like I was focused so much because I wanted to make sure I didn't lose this article because I wanted to read the new stuff on Trello. So I'm like making sure I can airdrop it. And that's what I couldn't airdrop. It was just like, no, I need to learn what's new because it'll make me happy.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. You have
So
to,
yeah, you need to
I
find what's
think you
new.
have to take a like stop and take a hard reset, right? And I got to tell you, anyone that's watching, for us, you know, it was like I said last night and today, overwhelming about everything going wrong. But then, you know, once you jump on live, right? We don't ever say, oh, let's just not do it today. We're committed. We go. So once you join
Right.
on this, then all of a sudden everything changes. And I will have to tell you, we've talked about this in the past, that it's a lot easier to change your mindset and get motivated when you're doing it with someone else. Because if I was up by myself on a live
Absolutely.
this morning, I'd probably be ranting and not very happy, and everyone would turn me off.
Well, you know what? I remember when I worked in corporate, I would literally, I'd be having a bad morning or whatever, getting the kids out the door because they were young, blah, blah, blah. I would land at the daycare at like 7 o'clock in the morning. I'd be like, here, take them. I don't care. But by the time I got in the office again, like people and somebody would say a
Yeah,
joke and it kind of snaps you out of it a little
it
bit, right?
does.
Like you kind of have that crazy start to your morning, but it kind of snaps you out of it.
And that's the importance of really making sure, as we are still at home, a lot of us, right? A lot of us are still at home. It's important that you do that. You engage, whether if you can't go out, then engage online to get yourself, like, just get yourself away from yourself is what it is, right? Get yourself away from yourself so that you have the opportunity to be able to go, okay, there is another world outside of my downward spiral that I'm experiencing right now. So that's really key.
Exactly. And I'm just checking our other feeds and yeah, there's some delay and there's some freezing, but we're going to push through and we'll see how this goes. That's
Yeah,
all we
it's
can
okay.
do.
It's okay. It's all right. It is what it is, right?
Exactly. But apparently they can hear me, but I am frozen.
You
So we're
are
just
frozen,
gonna, yes,
but
but we're,
I'm not, so I can
no,
dance.
you're fine. I don't know. Again, it's the clouds are gone. So hopefully the weather will come.
Awesome. Great.
So interesting story. I apologize that you can't see me, but you can hear me.
No, you're good now.
So I get home last night, as we've talked. We had a long weekend of building stuff and putting things together. However, awesome celebration. It was my birthday weekend over the weekend, so awesome, fun celebrations, which was great. So I get home last night, and I have a client. I have a podcast client who's launching tomorrow. So that's always ridiculously exciting for me. Like I love to see them, push it out and start to promote it. And I love to see their show like pop up on the charts and all that. So we've talked about strategy and we've talked about what to do and launch and all that. So really exciting. So I get home last night. I have my system. I have my flow through. So last night I went and checked everything, like looked at all their show notes and everything. And yeah, so this is what happened. I talked to them about
Right.
what they needed to do because they weren't super familiar with podcasts.
Right.
No problem. I always encourage people to be a voyeur first,
Yeah.
right? If you want to start a podcast, listen to podcasts. If you want to get
Right.
on social media, jump onto that platform, LinkedIn,
Agreed.
Twitter, like always go and check it out. Look, we haven't really jumped into TikTok yet because I'm still being a voyeur, right?
Yeah.
I want to understand the platform. I want to see what it's like, how we could use it and kind of really understand it. And I encourage others to do that as well. They weren't really familiar with podcasts, and that's okay. Walked them through everything, showed them what was what. And then we talked about the show notes, and I explained to them what show notes were and how they could, describe their show, all of that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
But the problem is that then they passed on that or didn't pass on that information to their VA.
Oh.
It's two people and they share a VA. Not the VA's fault,
No.
but the VA did what they thought because all
Oh.
they said was, I need you to write show notes and put them in a Google Drive for Stacey.
Right.
But what they didn't do is they didn't tell them that information I gave to the client did not translate to the
Mm.
VA. So I looked at the notes and I'm like, this is not at all what we talked about. Like, we agreed, we went back and forth. Like, it's different with every client. So, like, we kind of, talked about what would work for them. So I sent them a note. I'm like, hey, because what they had done is the VA had written a sentence and said, to see full show notes, click here.
Oh.
You can't do that on a podcast,
No.
right? And the problem is that link didn't work because they haven't set up their website yet. So it was just this comedy of errors. And I'm like, well, I kind of need to move forward. So I moved forward on a few things that I could. But I sent the note. I'm like, yeah. So they wrote back and they're like, well, we don't know why our VA did that. So what I realized was, and I think maybe we need to get somebody on here who's a VA and help people understand how to work with a VA.
Yeah.
Because that's a whole skill on itself, right? Yeah. So that communication, because if you haven't, I mean, we face this
all the time.
We work with Spencer.
Yeah.
Right? Of like how to give that clear direction of what you want done. And if things don't work the way you thought they would, that's not the VAs or the social media managers. It's not their fault.
Never. It's always your fault. Always. Guaranteed. I guarantee. Because what we have a habit of doing is we have it all in our brain so we can see it. So we already think we've transferred that information over. And they get it. And I hear it a lot from her because she has so many clients. And, it's incredibly frustrating for a VA to not get their information on time and not get detailed information. Right.
Right. So I felt bad because, again, when you say write show notes, well, we had spent probably about an hour on a call about what they would look like based on their different episodes that they're having, their subject matter, how they could frame it, what they could talk about. Like, we went through this entire thing because they're important, extremely important for a podcast episode. But when they, again, broken telephone, right? But when they pushed that out, it was, can you write show notes?
Yeah.
And the VA didn't know. The VA doesn't listen to podcasts and they weren't part of the conversation. So again, same with us. We have it in our head.
Yeah.
It didn't translate. So we're working through that today and that's okay. But it was interesting because, again, it's kind of at the 9th hour, right? Or the 11th hour or the whatever.
Well, you have to, and you, like I would say, don't send it out until you got it.
Yeah, so they're updating them now, and that's fine. It does kind of push everything back a little bit based on our timeline of what we wanted to do. But I said to them, I would rather push it back and do it properly than rush and put something out, especially with your launch. That's incomplete.
Agreed.
So,
yeah. But we do that. Like we knew because as we would do our social media, Spencer would get back to us and go, what are you guys exactly saying? Like, what do you want? Like, be very clear. And we'd have to go drill back and go, okay. And now what we do is we always jump on a call right before the day that she really works on our stuff. We jump on a call with her at 9 a.m. just for 5 minutes, because remember, it's our time. That's our time that she's supposed to be working. So we jump on a call, we clarify, right? We clarify everything that we want her to do so that she's crystal clear, and it gives her an opportunity to ask questions, right? So if she doesn't understand something, and then if we say, oh, because this is our standard. I don't know if you guys are like this who are listening. We used to say, oh, whatever, just do whatever you think is right for this. That's like so ridiculously wrong when you're dealing with somebody doing your work. It's not, and don't get me wrong. A lot of them have the capacity. They're creative. They can do it, but it's not fair to them. Number one, because they're not there. That's not what their job is. And then number two is that what you're doing is you're taking away their time that they could have boom, 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 put something out. And now they have to sit there and go, oh, I have to actually make all this up for them. So, you have to be very cognizant of having very, very clear direction as to what you need accomplished when. And if you do that, then, life is great and they end up doing stuff that's like amazing, but you can't just say, oh, go do it. There's nothing worse than somebody saying, oh, can you just do something for me this week? Right?
Well, no, whether it's writing, like I know people like VAs who do newsletters as an example, you can't just say, write me a newsletter.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of information that goes into a newsletter or an email,
Yeah.
especially when you're talking about a distribution list. A lot of information goes in there. So I feel bad sometimes for these VAs, and again, even for Spencer, I feel bad for some days because I'm like, we know what we want.
Right.
We've had the conversation. It's processed in our brain, but getting it from our brain out sometimes isn't as clear as we think
Yeah.
it is
Yeah. It's
because we
hard.
know the
It's hard.
backstory.
And with me, my problem, and I recognize it, is my problem is I come up with ideas and I think of things, and then I feel like it's already done. So I move to the next
Right.
one, right? Even though it's not been implemented yet, because that's how my brain works. It's like, oh, I've already done this, but I haven't really done it because I haven't given it to somebody to do. So
To
you have to
implement.
be,
Yeah.
yeah. So you have to be really, cognizant of not only giving the right ideas, but understanding, like, did you give that information out? Did you actually do it? Like, so it's sometimes you have to really, figure that out a little. So
kind of like, I responded to the text in my head. Did you not get
yeah.
it?
Yeah. And I do that a lot. Like, someone asked me yesterday, did you fill out this paperwork? And I was like, I can't remember. I thought I did, but maybe I didn't. Right.
I did it in my brain.
Yeah. So you have to, so what happens in a lot of us, and I'm sure, people that are watching, a lot of us, you might be in the middle of something, in the middle of doing something, and then you get, called away, and then you come back and you think you did it, right? You think you finished it because you remember working on it. And then, you realize that it's not there. So yeah, it's those little things. I think that I'm doing a lot of that this week is catch up on all the things that I thought I had done and I didn't. And I think, it's challenging. Like for me, I wanted to point out this week, as it started not so great, and that it's hard. I'm in the midst of, and Stacy by osmosis has to do it too. I'm in the midst of 3 different locations, right? So I'm living out of 3 different locations, and that's why I forgot my computer charger. It's so hard to remember what is where.
Yeah.
That even though I'm very mindful when I lock up and leave and go to the next place, I'm usually very mindful of everything, but your brain can't fit everything in. So I'm like going, okay, maybe I need to do a little checklist when I leave, like because I did in my brain, I was like, computer check, camera check, like I did all that, and then I was like, oh, wait a minute, the charger isn't there.
Yeah. Well, I did the same thing, right? I was leaving here. I was going up to your cottage. I was a computer check. Got there, charger not check.
Right? And I always say, like, it's always usually the kids that forget them, right? Because they're always borrowing yours. So I mean, and is it the first time this has happened to me? No, I forgot it a lot of time. I would forget it sometimes when I was traveling, when I was in corporate. When I had my lovely ThinkPad, I would sometimes I can remember leaving a charger in Tokyo or in Paris or somewhere in the hotel room. And back in those days, it was very hard to get a replacement, right? Because they didn't have them readily available.
Oh, that's hard.
Yeah, so they would literally find it and FedEx it back to you at like $60, whatever it was coming. But and I didn't have my computer for the day because there was no Android option to be able to go buy. You couldn't just walk into a store and buy a ThinkPad charger. You had to actually get it from IBM, and it was like a gazillion dollars.
Yeah.
So, so it is, I think, the world is fast now, and then we're like, go, 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 go. And when you just kind of quiet down and be a little slower, make those mistakes. That is why I've been really enjoying my time up at the farm, because there is this, for those of you who live in rural, good for you. I didn't realize that I would actually like it, but it's very slow, right? Like all of a sudden, there's no rushing around you, and you're kind of you get into that flow, right? You get into that like lower flow that you go, okay, I don't have to be crazy and rush around, and maybe you don't make those mistakes, right? And I guess it's because you can't stop and go, oh, I forgot to put the chickens back in the coop. But you have to do it. So there is no, they can FedEx the chickens. They can't do that. So.
It's very true. It's very, and you're right. It's the slower pace. It's the, okay, let's, take a longer break for lunch or something like that. It's not the same go, go, go. A lot of work to do. And absolutely, we're getting it all done. And there are times where we push through and get things done fast. We're under time crunches that we put on ourselves. I'm not sure why, no. But we do it because it gets it done. But you're right. On the other times, it's kind of like, oh, I can sit.
Right.
And just sit. And we were like, we'll watch TV, like weird.
Yeah. So I want to, before we, because I want to make sure there's a couple things I did want to give a shout out. I want to give a shout out because we love, small businesses that do a great job. And we love to shout out at big corporations that do a terrible job, right? We're an equal opportunity podcast live. Right? Yes. We will call out anyone. So I've called out all the people that have, not been very nice to me in the last couple months. So I want to give out a big shout out. There's a little small business, and my son texted me on Saturday night. It was Saturday. Yes. He texted and he's been looking for these weights. Right. And he's a very good because he looks around for the best prices. So taught him well. So he sends me a link from a post he found on Instagram. And he says, I'd like to order these weights. And I'm like, okay. And so I looked at it, he goes, and he's like, I'll pay. I go, no, let me check it out first. Cause I've never heard of this company. I order everything from like Amazon and stuff. Cause you can return it. Never heard of this company. And I look up and you can tell it's a little guy that just started a small business, and they have the weights and they're on sale, like ridiculously cheap. And here's their little phrase. They're in Toronto somewhere. And they said, if you order in the next, 8 hours or whatever, it's Saturday, we will deliver them on Sunday in time for Father's Day.
Wow.
And I was like, I looked at Amazon, the equivalent.
Yeah.
They were more money on Amazon, and it was 3-week delivery. So not the exact same brand, but they're all the same. You know what I mean? The weights are weights.
Yeah, they're all pretty similar.
So I said to him, I go, okay, let me order them because I want to track it.
Yeah.
So let me order. So I did. I clicked, I paid, I looked on their website. You can tell it was a 2021 website. You can tell there's not a lot on it. You can tell it's a small business. And they said they can deliver in Toronto. So GTA, which is Toronto, and outside of Toronto all the way to Hamilton, which is a city outside of Toronto. So I was like, okay, I never believed they would deliver. Like, there is no way. And that's okay, because it wasn't a Father's Day gift, so it didn't matter, right? Yeah. So I paid the money. I paid on credit card or PayPal. I can't remember. And it's so their name is it's Next Rep Fitness, in case you're in the Toronto area. Okay. And so I send it out. I get the thank you. I think they use Shopify. I get the thank you. And they said, delivery will be there tomorrow. And I'm like, uh-huh. And then I drove back from the cottage, and I land at 6. And then at 6:15, I get a personal email, and I guess it's from whoever's running the business. And he goes, thanks for your order. Just want to let you know your order will be your order will be there within the next 2 hours.
Wow.
So right. So I'm like, okay. And it's not an automated. You can tell it's not an automated email. And so I go out to do some groceries, and I come back, and Gray was still home. He goes, they delivered. And I go, what? He goes, yeah, just a small, whatever, probably the owner. They delivered at like 7:15. And wow. I was blown away. So, and what was nice on the email, it was like, thank you for supporting a small business. And I felt like so good about doing that, because, my default is always go to Amazon, right? Because, you're going to get it and you can return it. And it was so nice, because I thought, here's somebody that started a small business that is in their car, right? Yeah. For the entire day of Sunday, going all over Toronto.
Everywhere, yeah.
Delivering weights. So, that's not fun, right? Delivering weights. And it was so refreshing and nice to see someone do that. So I'm going to give them a shout out on my Instagram story today. If those of you who are in the Toronto area and you need weights, I don't know these guys, never met them, But I'm like, good for you. You said you had a special. You said you would deliver it by Sunday. You did. You fulfilled it. And we were just all blown away. So congratulations, Next Rep Fitness. I will find you on your Instagram. I'll give you a big shout out. Well done, you.
And the fact that they were doing it on a Sunday, because again, if they had said that they would deliver it on Monday, you probably would have been equally as happy.
Absolutely. Wouldn't even have considered it. Like I would have said, great, click.
Right, exactly. But for them, again, going that extra mile to ensure that they had it, because again, there's probably people that were doing it for Father's Day. You weren't.
Yeah.
But they could have very easily said, thank you so much for your order. We're so sorry that we can't get it to you tomorrow in time for Father's Day. We'll definitely deliver it on Monday. No problem. But good for them for going, nope, we're going to do it. We're going to push through. We're going to make, again, I love it when they go that extra mile and go, I'm not only going to exceed your expectations, I'm going to go beyond that.
So now, so think about this. Am I going to order from them again? Hell yes.
Absolutely.
Because now I got it on sale and I got it delivered. So now I'm going to go onto their website. And even if it's not on sale, I'm still going to buy it because if it's $50 more than somewhere else, I'll still buy it because you know what? Good for them. They did a great job and they deserve the money.
Yeah, I love stories like that. I think customer support stories, success stories, we don't hear them enough. And it's sad that you said, we love the really great small business stories. And some of the bigger businesses, unfortunately, we don't have those same stories. And I wish big businesses and larger corporations would look at the small businesses and see what they do to be successful. But they end up getting so big that they stop caring so much about the one-on-one. Now, again, you get an individual email, personally delivered on a Sunday. That's good for them.
So, part of the reason, it all started with an Instagram post that, my son found. Obviously, it's in his wheelhouse of things he would follow. Obviously, it wouldn't show up on my feed.
Funny that. I've never heard of them.
Here's the thing. So I'm going to shout out to us because
What's the name of the company again?
Next Rep Fitness.
Next Rep Fitness.
So if you can find them, let's give them a big shout out and tag them to this live so they'll know that we were. So here's the thing. We teach a program called Global Impact Accelerator. And what we do is we teach individuals, coaches, and small businesses how to really clearly identify their message, how to start doing videos and podcasts and speaking about their product and copywriting about their product and getting it out there so that people will buy it. So these guys obviously did the right formula, right? They probably did a lot of the stuff that we teach. You're going to ask me to look at something?
Yeah.
I guess that's them. Yeah. Yeah. They're very new. So there must not be much.
Yeah. They only have 5 posts. I love it.
Yeah. So here's the thing. If you're interested, and you think, you know what, I could really benefit from the training like that. We have something that we can give you that is free, which is our assessment. It's a scorecard that tells you if you actually need to kind of ramp up your training in terms of some of the aspects of it. So what's the URL, Stacy? Sorry, I just throw these things at her and I don't even tell her in advance. So our URL is themastermind.city/AI score. Is that right?
Close enough. I'm literally going to put it across right now.
Yeah, but can you speak it since we'll be on podcast?
Yeah, it is themastermind.city/AI score.
Great. So for those of you, this is a big lesson for you. This works, right? So this worked for Next Rep Fitness. They actually, did those type of strategies. They posted correctly. They fulfilled over and above. They really truly identified their very clear message of who they are and what they do. And that can be a success story for you as well. So it's a plug, but it's free. So we're giving you a free resource for you to actually check out. So if you're new on this, you haven't checked this out before, go ahead and download that scorecard and it'll give you, time to think about what you're doing and where you need to perhaps get a little tighter on your message. So if you're if you're struggling and you're not getting orders, you're not getting customers, and then it's not usually your product or your service. It's just that people don't know about you.
Exactly.
And you just need to understand how you can get out there in a simple manner. It doesn't mean you have to be doing lives. It doesn't mean you have to be posting all this stuff every day. But if you're very clear, I think number one, if you're very clear on your message and who your audience is, that will make a difference. These guys were very clear on their message and their audience. Their audience is my son. Right? I would have, so if he had said to me, I need some weights, can you look? Because he knows I like to search for, good prices and that, I would have never seen them because I'm not their audience, right?
Right. They would never have come out.
So really good lesson. So if you guys, have a chance, please go ahead and download that scorecard, and maybe you will have an experience like I did yesterday.
Awesome. All right.